Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi, the last and final Daf of our dear Maseches Horayos and the last and final Daf of our dear Seder Nezikin. Unbelievable. Okay, so we're on Yud Gimel Amud Beis, actually 10 lines into the wide. So we left off a bit early yesterday because it's the beginning of a new segment here, a new story, which leads us into the end of the Masechta. So when the lines widen, it's going to be line number 10 of the wide lines. So the last two words of that line, Amar Rav Yechanan. So it relates back to that brisa that we had yesterday, providing that ranking, that list of the hierarchy of the various positions of leadership. We had the Nasi, the Bezdin, the Chacham, etc., and the levels of kavod offered to them, respective to their position. When was this system established? Amar Yechanan, you're meant to know that Bimei Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who was the Nasi at the time, during his reign, Nishnis Mishnazu, this Mishnah here is a term for brisa, this brisa, and the system contained therein was established at that point in history. So what was the background story to this event? Says the Gemara. At that time we had Rabban Shimon Gamliel, who was the Nasi, the ultimate leader. Rabbi Meir was known as the Chacham, the great scholar. Rabbi Nosson was the Chief Justice, Av Bezdin. Okay, so each one occupied his respective position. And it so happens that prior to establishing this staggered, honor system, so Kihava, they treated everybody equally. Whether you're the Nasi, the Av Bezdin, right? Kihava Rabban Shimon Gamliel Hassam, when the Nasi would enter, everybody would spring up to their feet. Likewise, the same would be done to Rabbi Meir and to Rabbi Nosson without any differentiation. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Nosson, again, everybody jumps up on their feet. Before them. Now, this didn't really sit well with the Nasi, who preferred that there be some, discernibility between the levels, so that each rank is recognized as appropriately and treated appropriately. This way, the system is, is clear cut. The level of authority is clear cut. So he says like this: Amar Rav Shimon Gamliel, is there then no need to make this sort of distinction between my rank and theirs? So of course he meant for Hashem's sake to maintain the an efficient authority system in Klal Yisrael, leadership system, which is needed, which is vital to maintenance of our Messiah and transmitting of our Torah. You got to know who's on top and who's running the show. So he figured this sort of one size fits all system should be tweaked. Takana Masnisa. So he went and established this system that we learned in the brisa, that in fact the Nasi is given the highest level of kavod. So in fact his rank is discernible, is universally recognized as such, and then as we go down the list, the kavod sort of diminishes accordingly. So from that point onward, when the Nasi walks in, everybody jumps up, as opposed to the Chacham, to the Av Bezdin. They were given a sort of a lower level kavod, as we discussed in the brisa. Rav Meir, Rabbi Nosson Hassan. It so happens that on that day that this new system was established, so actually Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Nosson weren't around, they weren't present, they were absent. And they were completely unaware of this newly established honor system. L'machar. So the next day, when they came to the Bezdin, Chazir, they noticed a strange phenomenon. The crowd wasn't getting up for them the way they used to, as they were in the past. Amri. They started asking, what's going on? Amr lahu. So people told them, look, this is a new system. One day old system, you just missed it. Hachi talking. Ramashim Gamliel. So the Nasi instituted the new system yesterday. Amalei Rabbi Meir Rabbi Nassan. So Rabbi Meir turned to Rabbi Nassan. He wasn't very happy. He took it. He didn't take it too well. Again, not on a personal level, but he figured it's going to hinder his ability to impact, to influence, to teach. If his level is sort of diminished, if his position is diminished. So he turned to Rabbi Nassan and he says, I'm no Chacham, right? I was given the title Chacham. That you are known as the Av Bezdin. You know what? We can't tolerate this honor. Naskin, we have work to do. We have to teach. We have to maintain our authority. Naskin Musa Kila Didan. We're going to turn around and establish a system that works for us, that benefits our position, that will restore our ability to influence, to teach, to do our job. My Navid. So what are we going to do? What can we do to the Nasi to change the system? So they came up with the following plan. We're going to confront the Nasi and stump him in front of all. This will diminish his authority, his power, and we're going to restore our position to the way it's meant to be. Namely, we'll tell him, Gali Oiktzim, please teach us the halachas and Mesechas Oiktzim, the last Mesechta in Shas, which they knew the less later. He's not accustomed to learning it. He's not familiar with the material there. We're going to get him. You keep it like Gomar. And once we see, everybody will see that he's not proficient in that material. Namely, we're going to tell him, well, if so, you have no business running the show. Mi Yamal Gvuras Hashem, who is given the ability to promote Hashem's greatness, to teach Torah, the only one who is proficient in all of Hashem's praises, who's fully proficient in all areas of Torah. You don't qualify. Let me know Lamal Gvuras Hashem, who is given the honor, the ability to promote Torah, only one who knows everything. At that point, Navri will fire him, will depose him, and we'll take over. But in order to highlight his pure and heavenly intentions, or Meir's intentions, he didn't offer to take the position of Nasi for himself. No. He told Rabbi Nassan, guess what? I'll be promoted to the Av Bezdin, you'll be the Nasi. Again, we mean L'Shem Shemayim, and it's all for Hashem's sake. So what he did to us is tolerable. We're not going to, we can't live with this. We're going to depose him and restore our, position. Shamin Rabbi Yaakov ben Karshi. So this man, Rabbi Yaakov, overheard this plan being discussed. Amar, he figured, I'm not going to let this pass. I'm not going to allow this to happen. Dilma chas v'shalom. I'm afraid that chas v'shalom ashim milsa de Yusufa. It's going to come to embarrassment. The Nasi will be embarrassed. I'm going to fill him in. I'm going to give him heads up. Also, Yosef achrei lisei. So he went and took a seat behind the Ali is the upper floor. Second, floor where the Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, where he would sit and learn. So he sat over there nearby, and he purposely learned Meseches Uktzin to send a message. Beware, something is coming your way. Be prepared. Pashat, he learned it once, he explained it. Garas Vatana, he learned it again. Garas Vatana, yet again. So, hoping that the Nasi will pick up on the hint. Amar, so the Nasi got wind of he figured something's amiss. Ma'ida, come on, what's going on here? Why is he sitting and learning this Masechta over and over again? Dilma chas v'shalom, perhaps. Chas v'shalom, there's something happening behind the scenes. Ika, there's something in the Beit Midrasha, in the Beis Medrash behind my back. So he put his mind to it, and he learned it, and he studied it, and he became proficient in Maseches Uktzin, which he wasn't up until now. And he was prepared for the test. The next morning, they approached him in the Beis Medrash. Nice Mar, please. Mar, Rebbe, could you come teach us Uktzin? Sure, no problem. Pasach, Amar. He got up and he started speaking, and he knew everything. Pasach the Oikim. Okay, so when he was done, Amarlu, he picked up on what was going on. He says to them, I see you had nefarious plans. You were trying to stop me. Amarlu tells them, Eloi Gamirna. If it wasn't for the fact that I prepared myself ahead of time, Kasef Tinan, you would have embarrassed me. He wasn't very happy. Pocket. He instructed the people there, Vavkinu. And they sent him out of the Beis Medrash, Vavkinu Bei Midrash. So you can't come back in the Beis Medrash. So they sat outside and they learned. And they participated somewhat in the goings-on of the Beis HaMedrash. Havukas v'kushiyasa. They would send in their questions or piska on a note. V'shad also send to the Beis HaMedrash. Davar mifrik, the answers that they could provide inside, fine. So the question that was answered, fine, mifrik. Lo yahavu, mifrik, the questions that were stumpers, that the people inside Beis HaMedrash, who were on a lower level than Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Nassan, who were outside, the ones that they couldn't respond to, kasri peruki. So the ones outside, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Nassan, responded by sending in a note, providing the answer to their own question, kasvi peruke. So they would send in the answers, v'shadu, and send it in. They would record it and send it in. Amrlu. So Rabbi Yossi, when he saw what was going on, he turned to his fellow, Beis Medrash participants. How can we allow this to continue? Torah and Bachutz, the great scholars are outside and we're inside. Either they come in or we go out and join them. Amrlan. So now Rav Shimon Gamliel turned to them. He says, "Okay, Nalino, time to let them back in. They got their punishment, Miyu, but still Niknesinu, we have to penalize them. We can't let it go without a mark. Going forward, we're not going to quote. When we say halacha, their halacha, we don't attribute it to their name directly. Rather, asikul Rameir Achirim. From now on, Rameir is called Achirim, without mentioning him by name. Rab Nassan, and if we have to quote something from Rab Nassan, instead of saying Rab Nassan, it turns into Yesh Aimrim, some say. This way, it leaves a mark and provides a deterrent, lest anybody dare go down this route again. So both Rameir and Rab Nassan experienced a dream, and they were shown a message. Zilu Faisu, go appease. Rab Shimon Gamliel. So Rab Nassan adhered. Azal, he went and appeased him. Rameir refused to go to Azal. Amr, he says, dreams are dreams. Dreams have no effect. But Rab Nassan went to Rab Shimon Gamliel to talk things over. Rab Shimon Gamliel tells him, what were you thinking? The gold belt, kamra of your father, your yichus, sure, would have helped you, and did help you, to make you to Abbezin. But what were you thinking? That you're going to be a nasi? Shavinuch, nami nasi? What were you thinking? Okay, anyways, he told him off. So Masnli Rebbe, Rabban Shimon Brei. So it turns out that years later, Rebbe, who was a descendant of Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who was also the Nasi, he was learning a Mishnah in Meseches Tmura. And he was learning with the son of Rabbi Shimon. He tells him like this: Acherim Oimrim. Others say this is Rameir, but he was sort of now relabeled to Acherim. And he quoted Rameir without mentioning his name. Acherim Oimrim. Others say Ilu Haya Tmura Lo Yakare. This is pertains to the Meseches Tmura, but in any case, he was quoting Rameir, not by name. Amrali, so his son started wondering, who are we quoting without why are we calling him Acherim? Why are we giving him this sort of generic name? Who are these whose waters we drink, whose Torah we are learning, but we can't mention their names? So Rebbe told his son, these are people, they tried to uproot your and your ancestors' honor because they tried to depose your grandfather from being a Nasi. So his son says, okay, but it's bygone, it's past. Gama Avasam, it's a pasuk in Koheles. Their love, their hatred is gone. Gam ka'avasam, gam kin sin asam, gam kin asam. Their jealousy of it, it's long gone, it's lost. Why do we have to reckon with it now? They no longer pose a threat. Let's just, get on with it. Amr says, Father says, no. We have another pasuk in Tehillim. Animosity remains. Ha'oyev tamu. Charaba is lanetzach. So even after the enemy is gone, but we have to recall what they tried to do, how they threatened us for all time. Amr so his son says, yeah, that's only when, they're accomplished. Their effect is felt. When their actions have actually done and ruined and affected us. So you have to recall it and keep it fresh. But the Rabbanon who attempted to, they were unsuccessful. So why bother mentioning it and recalling it? Okay, so Rebbe shifted and Hadar Asli, so he represented the halacha a little differently. Instead of just ignoring Rav Meir, he actually made mention of Rav Meir. Amru Mishum Rav Meir was said in the name of Rav Meir. And again, he said the halacha ilu k'mur le'ikarev. Okay, so this time he mentioned Rav Meir. Amar Rava. Surprisingly, afilu Rebbe, even Rebbe Hakadosh, who was known as the ultimate humble man, Da'an v'sanahu. He was the most humble. In fact, the Gemara in Saita, Gemara talks about the Mishnah, Mishemeis Rebbe Batla Anava. Rebbe was the last true humble man. Mishemeis Rebbe, when Rebbe passed away, Batla Anava. There's no longer any true Anavim. So in any case, Rebbe was known as the ultimate Anav, and still. So although he modified the halacha and made direct reference to Rav Meir, but he said it sort of in an indirect way. Tana, he taught his son, Amru Mishur Rav Meir. It was said in the name of Rav Meir, but he wouldn't directly quote him. He wouldn't say, Amar Rav Meir. Amar Meir, Lo Amar, that he wouldn't say. So he still sort of, sought the need to sort of frame him in a manner which recalls the incident. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, it comes an interesting machlekes, very interesting machlekes. Pligaba Rab Shimon Gamliel v'Rabbanan. There was a machlekes between Shimon Gamliel and the other Chachamim. So let's say you have two people. One is a baki, knows everything, well versed in Torah. They call him Sinai because he's proficient. And all the Mishnahs and the Brises, just like it was presented by Har Sinai. It's all organized and clear. Him, a person who perhaps doesn't have the same level of a breadth of knowledge, but he has depth, more analytical, sharper, comprehends deeper. So each one has an advantage. Each one has a mila. Which one is considered better? Chadamar, so one of the Tanaim said, Sinai Yadav. The one that has the Bekiyas. Right? This is the classic, machlekes. In or Bekiyas? Which way, right? So today in yeshivas, they have, the Masorah is that they have a Seder for Ian, learning in depth, and a Seder for Bekiyas. You have to have both, right? But let's say you're faced with a choice. You have two Talmid Chachamim. Who's considered on a higher level? Sinai Yadav. Chadamar, the other one says, no, Iker Haram Yadav. The one who uproots mountains. It's a term for a sharp person, right? So he's considered higher. So in fact, we have two Amoraim. Rav Yosef, who's considered Sinai, he was the big Baki, and Rabbah was considered Iker Haram. And they had a question in terms of who to appoint as the Rosh HaYeshiva, the Baki or the Lamdan. Shochat, and now of course Rav Yosef was a Lamdan, I'm just generalizing, right? Of course they both had both, but his emphasis was on breadth, his emphasis was on depth. Shochat Taman, this was a question sent to Eretz Yisrael, what should we do? He'ezer and Koidem. Which one should we choose? Shochalu, they responded, Sinai Yadav. Rabbi Yosef, who was Sinai, should be your choice. The Amar Mars, we learned in the Brisa. Ultimately, we all need the Sinai. You need the information, which will serve as basis of further learning. So you have to start with that. Hakol tzrichim. So you have a choice, one or the other. Hakol tzrichim maruchitai. Everybody needs the grain, master. Appoint Rav Yosef as Rosh Hashiva. Still, Loi Kabel, Rav Yosef did not accept the post. He insisted that they appoint Rabbah, and in fact, Rabbah was appointed. Malach Rabbah, he ruled. He was the Rosh Hashiva for 22 years. Esser Mishtein, V'hadar Malach Rav Yosef. And only later on, when Rabba passed away, did Rabbi Yosef take that post. And in fact, Rabba, you would think that Rabbi Yosef served as sort of a competing entity breathing down his back. No, just the opposite. With the utmost humility. He was submissive to Rabba. And all throughout Rabba's reign, Rabbi Yosef, listen to this, afilu uman lechalaf. Typically they would go to the uman, right? The guy who would do the bloodletting. And if you were a man of prominence, he would come to you. The doctor would come and do a house call in his house. Rabbi Yosef would not allow the uman to come to his house. Afilu uman to his house lechalaf. And not pass by, did not come in. So basically, Rabbi Yosef submitted to Rabba's position, considered him the one and only leader, and himself as merely like anybody else. Interestingly, Tesa Rush says, the Gemara means to say, is that because Rabbi Yosef was mashbel himself vis-a-vis Rabba, and he did not conduct himself with any air of authority in front of Rabba, so due to that tremendous sacrifice, right, which he exhibited in order to maintain, to reinforce, to strengthen Rabba's position, which in turn allowed him to influence and to lead and to be more impactful. So because of that tremendous anava and self-sacrifice on Rav Yosef's part, Rav Yosef was protected, him and his family protected from illness for the full 22-year period. In fact, even the Ummah, they didn't have to call up bloodletter to do some slight, treatment. Even that they didn't need. They stayed healthy and strong because of this mysterious nefesh. And the Rosh likes this pshat. He says, "V'adein perish mistaverlon." He likes this pshat. Okay, we have another story with Abaye, V'Rava, V'Rabbi Zera, V'Rabbi Bar Masna. All these, the four Chachamim, Habu Yasser, were sitting. But Tzricha Reisha decide they need somebody to lead, to be the leader. Who's going to be the Rosh Hashiva amongst them? Already they decided they'll present a challenge. Kol the Amar Milsa, V'Leim Yifrich. Any one of us who will present, a halacha, and none of the others will be able to sort of refute it. Okay, so if it's going to be a successful halacha, Lihavarei shall be appointed as the leader. They all got up and presented their case. Turns out the kulu ifrich, other than Abaye, all the others, presentations were refuted by the others. The Abaye's halacha stayed standing. It was a bona fide, successful, enduring halacha. Okay, that's it. You got the position. Chazi, Rabbi, Abaye. So Rabbi noticed that Abaye, the Gavaresha, he looked excited. He felt accomplished. Amalei says, okay, this is a sign from heaven. You got the job. Nachmeni, he called him Nachmeni. Why did he change his name? Some say actually his name was always Nachmani. But during Rabbi's father's name was also Nachmani. During his lifetime, he wouldn't want to call Abaye, who was his nephew, he wanted to call him Nachmani, because that was his father's name. So he called him Abaye. But after his father's passing, he would call him Nachmani, his real name. By the way, some say Abaye stands for Asher B'cha Yerucham Yosem, because Abaye was orphaned on both sides, father and mother, and he was adopted and raised by Rabba. So his nickname was Abaye Asher B'cha Yerucham Yosem, so people understand, recognize that he's an orphan, and treat him, sensitively. So it turns to Abaye, he says, okay, here's your opportunity. Pesach v'ema, okay, get up and start speaking. Say Adrasha. You're appointed as a leader by heaven. Iboilu, here comes one more final shaila between Rabbi Zera and Rabbi Bar Masna. Between these two, Hai mina yodev. Who's better? Rabbi Zera, Charav u'Maksha. Rabbi Zera was very sharp. U'Maksha, who'd ask really solid questions. On the other hand, Rabbi Bar Masna, as his name would allude, Mosan. Masna is like Mosan. More deliberate, umasik, and he would sort of take his time to conclude, to get to the maskana, right? So in a way, the quicker one is sharper and more impressive and more. But Rabbi Bar Masna although not as sharp, more deliberate, more calculated, right? But this would lead him to greater clarity, to arrive at the proper conclusion. So if you have a choice between two types, who would you appoint as the Rosh Hashiva? Take it, we leave it unresolved, because each one has his mile, has his advantage. Interesting, the Meiri writes that Bizmanam Elu, and nowadays Achron Chaviv, the second one, Masun Masik, is to be preferred. He says Klal Gadol B'Limud, that the Talmud should know everything that he learned and take the formulas that he was taught from his Rebbe and work it out until he comes to the proper conclusion, halacha, and he ends off V'chefetz Hashem b'yoda yitzlach, amen. You'll have a lot of hatzlacha. Okay, beautiful. So we have the system of kavod, depending on your level of position, depending on your madrega. We had the system established by Rav Shimon Gamliel, and then there was an attempt to alter it by Rabbi Nassan, and then we learned the whole story. They were sent out to the Beis Medrash, and they were punished. Eventually, we find that Rabbi HaKadosh again sort of negated that. He sort of turned things around, and he started quoting Rav Meir. Then we learned about the Milas of Chachamim Sinai, who's greater than the Iker Harim. And regarding Masun Masik versus Charif Amaksha, we left it at a Teiku. Okay, so Baruch Hashem, we finished another Masechta. Asiyim HaMaseches Nezikin. Baruch Hashem, Asher Echiyanu, V'kimanu, V'kiyanu L'zman Hazeh. It's been a great pleasure and a schus to be able to sit and learn together all this time. May Hashem help us all continue b'zeicha to madreges, levels in limud Torah and bekiyas, and in Ian we should have the yeshiva das and the focus and the simcha to be able to learn Torah on its highest level, b'tusha, b'tahara, b'simcha, with nachas, panasa, b'psuras tevis, ad bias gedol tzedek, b'mher b'yameinu amen, mazel tov, mazel tov.
I know you know sis the zoisato yiro ki hilonu was the yiro oh the yiro no you know sis the zoisato yiro ki hilonu was the yiro I know you know sis the zoisato yiro ki hilonu was the yiro oh the yiro no you know sis the zoisato yiro ki hilonu was the yiro No,